In the beginning of Project Hail Mary, we see a spaceship named Hail Mary, and 2 years later, a man named Grace suddenly wakes up, who has been in a coma for a long time. Then the AI system of the spaceship Mary starts talking to him, but Grace is very confused as to how he came here. Then Grace comes out and checks the spaceship and sees some people like her there. Then he realizes that his companions have died during the journey. After this, Grace explores the entire ship. Due to coma, his memory becomes very weak. He finds out that he has come a long way from the Earth in the spaceship. Then he goes to the control room and tells Mary that let's go back to Earth. But Mary says that the mission will be completed first, then we will go back. Then Grace checks and finds out that those people had left the Earth 2 years ago. Now Grace gradually remembers his old life. He remembers that he used to be a teacher and taught children. He explains science to him in a simple way, especially molecular biology. Then one day a girl asks him if the sun is really going to end. Then Grace explains to him that the sun's rays go to all planets, but a strange wave has been detected from Venus, which is called a Petrova line. A microorganism of Venus, through these Petrova lines, is reaching the sun. Due to this organism, the heat of the sun is slowly decreasing. Its effect was then on the planets. According to scientists, after about 30 years, the temperature on Earth will be very low, and a new ice age can come in which many people can die. Hearing this, the children get scared, but Grace convinces them that there's no need to be afraid because the world's best scientists are working on this problem, and they will do his best to save the Earth. Scientist comes to meet him. Eve knows everything about Grace's past. Grace had also written a paper on a theory in which she believed that life can be on any planet without water, but people made fun of her, and that's why she was removed from the scientist group. Since then, he has been working as a teacher. Now Eve gives Grace a chance and says that he can prove his theory through a major experiment. Then Grace goes to the lab with him, where Eve gives him a sample. She gives this sample to check it. Grace studies it and says that the sample looks like a living being, but to confirm it, she will have to do more tests. Then Grace does different tests on that sample, like checking the effects of light. Gradually she finds out that it is a strange elemental organism, which may be an alien, because it does not belong to the Earth. And now Evie is very happy to hear this. Now going further, Grace understands that it is the same organism that is cooling the sun, and it is connected to the Petrova line. Then it shows that Grace's theory was correct. A living being has been found on Venus without water, which is reducing the heat of the sun. She has named this organism as astrophage. A team of 130 scientists was working on it, but Grace did not do the real research. Then Eve asks Grace that will it help in the future? Grace says yes. Then Eve takes Grace to a big base. There she tells that they will have to make astrophage in a large quantity. Grace asks why. So the scientist says that astrophage will be used like the fuel of a spaceship because it can make the spaceship travel very fast. Their plan is to embark on a mission to save Earth. This mission is named Project Hail Mary. In this, Grace will work with 20 other scientists. Grace gets ready for this. Then Eve explains the whole mission to everyone that many planets are in danger from the universe due to the astrophage, but a distant star system, Tau City, is still safe, so they will have to go there and find out what is different there. Grace finds this plan quite impressive, but Eve is concerned that the amount of astrophage they will be able to make in 2 years, they will only be able to reach Tau City. There will be no fuel to come back, meaning the mission will be a kind of one-way trip, in which the people going may never be able to return. Their plan was that whatever important element will be found there, it will be sent to the Earth through a small, fast spaceship. In this way, they could have saved the Earth by sacrificing themselves, because it takes about 3.5 years to reach Tau City, and by the time a message or something reaches the Earth, 26 years would have passed there. For this mission, a selection of 3 scientists was taking place. Now in present time, Grace remembers all this slowly, then he starts using all the things in the spaceship. He respectfully puts the bodies of his two dead companions in the bag. He knew one of them, Mr. Liu. Grace respects him and says goodbye to him in the spaceship. After that, Grace learns to live in the spaceship and starts enjoying a little. All this goes on for several months, but his memory is still not fully recovered. Then one day, Mary tells him that another spaceship has come to him. Grace steps outside and sees a unique, crystal-like spaceship. Then a bomb-like thing from that spaceship is thrown towards Hail Mary. Grace gets scared, but she does not explode. Then he thinks that maybe this is a message. Grace goes out wearing a spacesuit and retrieves the object. When he opens it, he finds a strange thing in it. After testing it, it turns out that it is a kind of map, that is a design, in which the alien in front of us, the location. It comes from a planet called Erin. Then Grace also enters her Earth location into that device, and sends it back towards the alien spaceship. Now the next day, some wires come out of the alien spaceship, which catch Grace's spaceship. It becomes a tunnel-like path through those wires, which looks like a crystal cave. Grace gets scared first, but then bravely walks into that cave in a spacesuit. Going ahead, he sees the alien. Both are shocked to see each other. That alien looks like a stone and is the size of a dog. Grace finds that alien very interesting. The alien speaks in different voices. For communication, Grace starts dancing for fun, and the alien also copies it. Then Grace and Mary make a device together, which can understand the alien's language. When the system is ready, they can finally talk. Grace keeps the alien's name Rocky, because he is like a stone. Then in space, the two start talking about their loneliness. Gradually, they also share about their mission. Both have the same mission to save their planet due to astrophage. Then Rocky tells that there were 23 more people like him in the alien spaceship, but they are all dead. Grace also tells that there were 3 people in his ship, but now only he is alive. Still, he wants to complete his mission. This makes a strong friendship between the two, because their goals are the same. Grace makes a special voice device for Rocky, which can translate his language. They test different voices, but in the end, they use a simple male voice. Now the two decide that they will complete their mission together. Now the scene shifts to the past, where we see that Eve introduces all the scientists to Grace, who are preparing for the mission. The scientists are the ones who are going to go on the mission. Grace teaches them how to use the spaceship and how to get elements from other planets. He also tells them that the astrophase is very dangerous. If it comes in contact with any metal, it can destroy things. Then Grace meets Mr. Liu, who praises him. Grace asks that when you know that there may be death in the mission, why are you going? Liu says that if she can save the Earth by giving her life, then it is a small thing. Now Grace remembers all this in the present, and she understands what to do with it. Then Rocky comes to Grace's ship. To save himself from oxygen, Rocky makes a cover of his around crystal, because oxygen is harmful for him. Looking at the ship, Rocky jokingly remarks that Grace is quite messy. Grace starts cleaning it. At the same time, he records everything about Rocky so that he can understand him better. Gradually, Grace gets used to living with Rocky, and he does not feel alone. Then one day, Grace is eating food. Then Rocky also shows his way of eating food. He takes the food from below in his mouth. Looking at this, Grace feels a little nauseous. Then Rocky tells that he was a mechanic in his ship. Now he suggests that if both have to go to the same place, then they can travel together in Grace's spaceship and come back together. Grace agrees to Rocky's offer, and the two part ways. Now they have to reach Tau City in 11 days. During this time, both of them spend a lot of time together. Rocky shows Grace the projection of different places on Earth, which makes their friendship stronger. Rocky tells that he has a wife at home with whom he has lived for 183 years. But according to him, this time is also less. Then Rocky asks Grace about his girlfriend. That he also had a girlfriend, but he was always busy at work, so she left him and went with a man named Mark. Hearing this, Rocky says that he doesn't like Mark, and Grace becomes a little happy upon hearing that. Now, after 11 days, the two reach Tau City. Their main mission there is to check whether the element of the Petrova line is like astrophage or not. Then the two take the spaceship and bring the sample from there. Grace tests the sample and compares it with astrophage. In the test, it is found that there is life in that element, which means it is a kind of bacteria that can fight with astrophage. This is a great hope for them because maybe they can save the sun from this. But the problem is that they need a lot of that element, which will be near the planet of Tau City, so the two prepare to go there. Then, Grace reveals that his spaceship is running low on astrophage fuel. Consequently, he won't be able to return to Earth and will die in space. But he plans to send the element from a small ship to Earth, so that the Earth can be saved. Hearing this, Rocky gets upset because he didn't know this. He says that I won't let you die. Grace says that meeting you is a big deal for him, and he is happy that he had a friend before dying. Along with that, he says that he will save both the planets. Then Rocky says that his spaceship has a lot of astrophage, which he will give to Grace. This will allow Grace to go back to her home. Yes, it will take 6 years for Rocky to reach his home, but he can't let his friend die. Hearing this, Grace gets a little emotional because he had given up hope of living. And then he hugs Rocky. Then it is shown in the past that where Grace and Eve had prepared the spaceship, in a few days the team of scientists is going to go on a mission. Everyone gets scared seeing this and starts checking the situation. At present, Grace and Rocky are going near the planet of Tau City. The environment there is very dangerous. Because of the strong gravity, the spaceship starts getting damaged. Still, Grace goes out bravely and starts collecting the elements there in the box. She has to stay out for a long time so that the box is properly filled. In this part, Grace gets hurt while working outside and falls. Rocky gets scared, but Grace gets up and holds the box. The strong gravity is pulling them. Still, Grace somehow comes back to the spaceship with the box. Then they start leaving from there quickly. But due to increasing speed, one of their engines catches fire. The situation gets out of control, and there is an explosion in which Grace gets injured and faints, and loses control of the spaceship. Rocky sees all this but is unable to help directly. Then he takes a risk and breaks his crystal box and comes out. First, he turns on the autopilot of the spaceship, and then picks up Grace and puts her in the hibernation chamber so that AI Mary can treat her. Then the pass is shown where the Hail Mary mission was to be launched only 2 days later. But the main scientist team was dead. Now people were in tension that who will go now. Then everyone's attention falls on Grace because he is smart and knows everything about the mission. But Grace refuses and says that she is not an astronaut. But Eve says that you are the best for this mission. Still, Grace is not ready, but no one is listening to her. In the present, Grace comes to her senses. Mary tells her that the spaceship is now in control. Then Grace sees that something like soil is falling from Rocky's body. He goes ahead and sees that Rocky is inside the box, and his color has changed. Then Grace understands that Rocky is dead, and he gave up his life to save Grace's life. Grace is very sad to see this. Grace then tests the elements he brought. When he tests them with the astrophage, it turns out that the element destroys the astrophage and increases itself. Grace understands that this is why the Tau Ceti star is safe. He names this new element as Predator because it destroys the astrophage. Then Grace speaks to Rocky's body and says that he will now save both of their planets. He prepares a lot of samples so that both the Earth and Rocky's planets can be saved. Now there is only one problem. He does not know how to get to the planet arid of Rocky, but he decides to go to the spaceship of Rocky and find a solution to it. Now one day Grace is sad and sleeps next to Rocky. Then suddenly Rocky comes back to him alive. Grace is very happy to see him and hugs him. This scene is very emotional. Then Grace tells Rocky about Predator. Hearing this, Rocky is also happy, because now he has a solution. Both celebrate because their mission is about to be completed. Then, after a few days, both reach near Rocky's spaceship. Rocky takes Grace inside his ship. Grace is surprised to see that the whole spaceship is made of crystals. Seeing this, he is very impressed. Then he is shown the past. Grace is with Eve, and he refuses to go on the space mission. He says to send someone else. Eve explains to him that you are the last hope of the Earth. Otherwise, the Earth and your students will all be destroyed. But Grace still refuses. Then Eve gets strict and says that this is an order. Grace tries to run, but the guards catch her. She is forcibly sent on the Hail Mary mission and faints in the coma, which is why he does not remember anything later. Now in the present time, Grace and Rocky are about to separate. Both get emotional because they may never meet again. Both call each other brother and say goodbye, and board their own ships and leave for their home. Now, after 11 months, Grace is traveling towards the Earth. Then an alarm goes off in his spaceship. Upon checking, he finds out that the sample of the Predator is coming into contact with the astrophage and destroying it, so it is necessary to keep both separate. But Grace accidentally kept them close. Grace then safely packs the sub-Predator samples and records their entire information on video so that people on Earth can understand it. Then Grace thinks that maybe there may be a problem in Rocky's ship too, but if he saves Rocky, he himself will not be able to go back to Earth. This is a very big decision for him. Now in the end, Grace decides that he will sacrifice. He puts the sample of the Predator in small ships and sends it to Earth, and himself changes the direction of his spaceship and leaves for the planet Arid of Rocky. A few days later, Grace sees Rocky's spaceship. Grace gets out of his spaceship and goes to the cave of Rocky's ship, that is, in the tunnel, and calls him. Rocky comes, and the two friends get very happy together because now they are together again and will stay together for a long time. Then, after many years, the scene of the Earth is shown. There Eve is now 27 years old. The sun has started to rise on Earth due to weakness, but Eve gets the sample of the Predator sent by Grace in his videos. From the videos, he also finds out about Rocky, and he is happy to see all this. Now Eve and the rest of the scientists start using the Predator to destroy the astrophage, and slowly, the work to save the Earth begins. On the other hand, Grace is now living on an arid planet. One day when he comes out, he meets Rocky. Rocky has made a place for Grace that looks like Earth so that Grace feels comfortable. And Rocky has also arranged that if Grace ever wants to return to Earth, then the Hail Mary spaceship is also ready for her. Then Grace says that he will think about it. Then the two friends happily spend time there. And finally, Grace becomes a teacher there and teaches the kids of Arid who look like Rocky. And with this, the story of Project Hail Mary ends here.